Look, this guy studied in the most difficult elite academy. He was the top student in every matter. He was the favorite of the director and teachers. Then he was sent to another world, and he followed its rules word by word. He built a tower, sent armies to earn points by killing heroes, kidnapped a princess to gather hatred, meaning he did everything that was written in the books. But if we move forward in the story, it becomes clear that all of this was useless. After crossing the tower, when the heroes entered his room, that king just kept thinking, how did this happen? If someone who has dragon blood and was the topper of his class couldn't do it, then it was impossible. He asked the hero standing in front of him how. That hero started laughing and said that you all say the same thing, but in reality, you all are fools. Every king kidnaps some famous princess and leaves clues. If they were smart, they would directly finish the king. But he knows that killing the king doesn't give hatred points, so he cannot do that. On top of that, it would go against his ideals. The hero continued laughing and said that the biggest stupidity is that you people send your army in pieces so that we can slowly become powerful. Even the tower starts with low-level monsters, which is the best way for heroes to level up. Our main character just kept thinking that those same great books and rules destroyed him. Just then, the hero takes out his sword and says, as soon as the tower becomes easy for us, we finish off the Demon King. We loot his stuff and wait for a new king to arrive. Very easy, man. That's why I like the Demon King. He always brings a lot of XP and treasure with him. The rest of the heroes also started thanking the Demon King, saying, you were a very good man. Your tower was absolutely perfect for farming. This was the height of humiliation. Just as the main hero moves forward to cut his neck, Robert starts doing some magic and shouts that he will take everyone with him to death, but his neck is cut and his head falls to the ground like trash. The hero says he'll take his horns to sell. Just then, his body starts glowing in purple color. The dead Demon King shouts that even if these are his last moments of life, he will take everyone with him. Before the hero could understand anything, the entire area was drowned in purple light and everyone's skin started melting. While dying, he was only thinking that all those rules and regulations were complete nonsense. If he had known this before, he would have become a completely different level of Demon King. An explosion happened, and light spread everywhere. Someone was calling out to him, and then that boy's eyes opened. Boom! He was directly in the middle of his training. There were many people around him who were surprised to see him, and he himself was completely bewildered about how he was here and how he was alive. Someone calls him Barja Dias and says, come forward quickly. Our hero is standing there looking around wondering what is going on. This is impossible. Just then, the instructor says, your mind is very sharp, but on today's graduation day, where is your attention wandering? He remembers that this is his graduation day, the very day when he received that red mark. This mark is proof that he has completed his graduation from the military academy. It was clear that he had gone back 15 years to the last day of his training. He stands in line trying to understand everything. Then an announcement is made. All students come to the stage. Soon you all are going to become great Demon Kings. So come, take your oath. The person standing next to him says, Barja Dace, read your rules. The Demon King will have to build a tower. The Demon King will have to kidnap a princess. The Demon King will have to do this, do that, meaning everything he hated. He didn't even need to look at the book because he had it all memorized. He had followed these same rules, and in the end, the heroes made him a toy and killed him. Now they wanted him to stand in front of everyone and repeat all that, or even worse, take an oath to follow these rules. His anger was through the roof. He was grinding his teeth. When the person next to him again said, Barja Dace, please read the Demon King rules, he directly shouted, I refuse. The rest of the students were completely shocked. What suddenly happened? This guy was totally normal until yesterday. He shouts that he is not going to take an oath of any such foolish thing. Following these old superstitions is sheer madness, and this is of no use. I don't know who made these rules, but all of this is garbage. All the demons present there just kept staring at him with wide eyes. Everyone was stunned. Nobody could believe it, and from that very day, our hero became a thorn in everyone's eyes, and he started being counted among the worst students. And honestly, it made sense too. The poor guy had just gotten his neck cut because of these same rules. In the very next scene, a hand slams on the table. This is the Fire Duke Arkine of the Demon King, who shouts Barja Dace. For the crime of insulting the Demon King's rules, you can be given the death sentence right now. The matter is in court, and they are giving him one last chance. They say that considering his past good behavior, he can be forgiven. He just has to take back what he said and apologize to the entire Demon Kingdom. If he doesn't do so, he will be sent to Arian. Some people are still shouting, "Cut this criminal's head right now." What is the need to give him a second chance? The Demon King says, "You should know that this is the place where all Demon Kings throughout history have been killed." But Barja says, "With confidence, send me there. I will go there and prove that the rules you worship are all garbage." Hearing this, the court people flared up. He should not get another chance. Send him there right now. It was decided that he would be sent there, but he would not be given any convenience or power that demons going there usually receive. On top of that, no one would go with him. Until his mission is complete, he is forbidden from setting foot back in the Demon Kingdom, and with that, he was kicked out from the Sky Gate. Falling down, he thinks, "Well, I knew this would happen." After creating such a big drama, he was back in Arian, the same place where the heroes had taken him down in his previous life. Last time too, he had chosen this place himself, because he thought he was the most powerful, so he should rule the most difficult place. But that same arrogance cost him his life, because the heroes were exploiting those old rules. He falls directly into the mountains. This is the hilly region of the northern continent, but this time, he has sworn that history will not repeat itself. This time he will not be used by heroes. Instead, he himself will tear apart this entire system. In the next scene, a man with a small beard is visible, getting dressed in a shirt and looking all neat and tidy. This is Godun Jari, the topper of the Demon Academy. Now understand the situation. Our hero was the topper of the Demon King Academy, and the job of the Demon Academy's topper is to serve the topper of the Demon King Academy. People are talking, "Godun, your luck has opened up. You will serve the great Lord Barja. I wish I had studied a little harder, then I would be in his place today." Godun says lovingly, "Ah, you're all good people. Chill," but in his mind, he is celebrating wildly that there is no one like Lord Barja. A person from the dragon bloodline, a talent born once in thousands of years. A magician the world will always remember. Just graduating in the same year as him is itself an act of merit. Godun is fully confident that wherever Barja goes, he will create havoc, and along with him, Godun's name will also be immortalized in the pages of history. But then our hero shouted and spoiled everything by saying demon rules are garbage and everything was ruined. Still, because this guy had the best grades, he is being sent to the Argus, 2 continent. Godun is now worried about why he has been paired with this madman. Just then Barja appears there. "And what's up? They had said no demon would come with me, yet they sent one. Good to see you, Godun." Godun's temper rose. "Why did you do this?" The hero doesn't understand what he's talking about. So Godun asks, almost screaming, "Why did he say those things in front of everyone?" Because of his actions, both of them have been sent to Arian, where death is certain. Godun feels like tearing his hair out. The hero asks him to calm down, but he himself is a bit confused. He remembers how calm and confident Godun used to be in his previous life. Back then, he used to say, "Sir, difficulties may come, but together we will handle everything." Barja thinks this time the whole atmosphere has completely changed. But if he tells him about regression going back in time, he will think he's mad. So staying quiet is best. Godun says while almost crying, "Forget whatever I said earlier. Now this is my job, so let's endure it." Now, the first rule of the Demon King, you will have to build a tower, but it should neither be hidden nor in a place with bad weather. It has to be built in a place where heroes can easily find it. Godun explains, "Sir, this place is very dangerous. There are mountains all around, and a thick sheet of snow is spread. Heroes will have a lot of difficulty reaching here. We should find some other place." But Barja flatly refuses. "I don't care. The tower will be built right here," and he plants the tower seed in the ground. What he is about to do is clear, but Godun again starts warning him. "Do you even realize you are going against the Demon King's rules? Will you also throw the most fundamental rule in the trash?" Barja understood what the matter was. Godun is a demon, and these rules are ingrained in his blood. But one who has seen death up close and has suffered the consequences of those rules knows that this is the right path. He clenched his fist so hard that blood came out and said, "Listen to me, Godun. The rules that demon kings follow are all nonsense, especially when you are living in a place like Arian. Just then, the ground started cracking, the mountains started shaking, and red energy began emerging from that seed. A magical circle formed, and Barja said, Arian is filled with heroes. There are so many more heroes here than there should be. Just then, the system's voice resonated. The tower has recognized user Barja Dace of the demonic flame race and dragon tribe. Recognition complete. His tower started appearing. Barja was thinking to himself, this is the reason why demons die a dog's death here. After repeated destructions by humans, they have understood how towers work, and now they are using the demons' own rules against them. In a land where every move of the demons becomes a noose around their own necks, it would not be wrong to say that they are playing the game created by heroes. Gordon asked in confusion, what are you talking about? And just then a small 5-story tower stood up there. Gordon's eyes went wide. What kind of tower is this? This is pitiful. Barja said, come, let's go inside. The first floor was quite large and open. Gordon looked around and said, a normal tower is filled with monsters, mazes, and complicated paths. But this is completely empty. This looks less like a tower and more like a rundown place without any facilities. And what about the Demon King's court? All floors are completely empty. Anyway, the seed had already been planted, so nothing could be changed now. Gordon gave up and said at least we should follow the second rule. The Demon King has to kidnap some prince or princess, and one who is close to the throne. Demon King, please take my one advice. The nearest to us is the Eggs Gate Kingdom. A princess there is about to take the throne soon. If we kidnap her and gather that kingdom's hatred, our power will increase greatly. Gordon was fully confident that Barja would refuse this time too. But Barja said, no, we will do the kidnapping. Gordon was shocked. Wait, does that mean you will now follow the rules? Barja explained, in my eyes there is one princess. Gordon jumped with joy. Oh, if that's the case, then let's start the work. But Barja Dace replied, no, you will stay here and guard this tower. We cannot leave this place empty. The poor man breathed a sigh of relief. Good, at least he is acting like a real demon king. He just had a little too much stress from graduation. But if that's the case, we can follow a few rules. Just then Barja started moving towards the window, and that man asked, wait, where are you going? Barja told him that he is going to the farthest place from this tower, the Hylon Kingdom, located in the southern end's other continent. Through the window, Barja reaches where that little princess was lying on her bed. His target is the 13th princess, whom nobody even knows about and nobody cares about. In the moonlit night, he appears before her comfortably and says, hello, princess, I've come to take you. On the other side, poor Gordon is sitting at the northern end of the world worrying about why on earth his master doesn't follow even a single rule. There, the little princess asks, who is he? Barja says he is a demon king and has come to kidnap her. But that girl asks in a strange way, will he be able to handle her? The demon king felt this girl was being a bit too clever. What kind of question is this? Does she think the Demon King is some joke? He said, obviously, I am the Demon King. She extends her hand forward and says, fine, then take me. Barja felt she was making fun of him. He found all of this very strange. He said, you are unnecessarily calm. What are you cooking up, child? She says, I knew that sooner or later something like this would happen. I am a princess, so I had a sense of this beforehand. Barja replied, if you think I'll let my guard down, forget it. I myself am quite powerful, so don't try to fool me. The girl just said that she is not planning anything. After all, how could she set a trap for any particular day? This even sounds absurd. Barja thought, if she has done this, then this is an insanely hard-working task. Still, something felt off. Anyway, that girl got up, got ready, and started asking, when are we leaving? The scene shifts back to Barja's tower. Gordon jumped with joy. Master, you've come back safe and sound. Barja directly said, take her upstairs and put her on the 4th floor. Gordon was confused. What? We're not putting her in a dungeon? Barja said she came along without any fuss or fight. So let's treat her with some decency. Just then Gordon said, okay, but master, I have something to tell you. They reached the 4th floor where there was nothing as far as the eye could see. The princess lay down right there on the floor and started thinking, so I've really been kidnapped. There's nothing here. No servants, no pillow, no blanket, and no beautiful garden. This is completely different from my kingdom. But she didn't even feel bad about it. What a strange kidnapper this is. Barja asked, wait, did I get an invitation from the Beast Tower? Gordon nodded yes. It was a party to welcome the new Demon King. But Barja said honestly, I think this is just a cheap excuse to look down on me or humiliate me. Everyone knows that demon kings are so arrogant that they don't like shaking hands with anyone. Still, our rule is so fierce and heroes are so powerful that this is one of the few places in the world, perhaps the only one, where these monsters sometimes shake hands with each other. The main character always felt that they were all weak, so he didn't feel it necessary to give them any importance. But this time he felt, let's at least see who these people are. So they arrive at the Beast Tower. Draxon says, so this is the new child, Demon King. I've heard you've dared to go against traditions. He thought this boy would be completely useless, but seeing him in person, it seemed the matter wasn't that bad either. Berza came straight to the point and asked, do you want to fight? Just tell me why I've been called here. Draxon came closer and whispered, this kid doesn't know anything. He had received orders from Archduke Arcane to keep an eye on him. Arcane had already warned him that this one was coming. Barza taunted, oh, you're talking about that old vampire. Just then the wolf furious growled that such talk about the Fire Duke would not be tolerated. He threw a piece of meat on the ground and ordered, lick this. If you do that, I'll forgive you. But Barza calmly asked, does Draxon truly not know why I'm here? Draxon said, it's obvious. You received punishment for bad-mouthing the old rules. Berza said yes, and according to those same rules, demon kings cannot kill each other. Saying this, he stomped on that piece of meat, which shattered the entire floor. He asked, do you really think I'll follow those rules? That big wolf started trembling. He couldn't understand what kind of terrible power this was. Then Draxon changed the subject. I just want to know, why did Archduke ask you to kidnap a princess? And what if you couldn't do it in 1 month? Berza turned and said, I knew you'd ask this. I've already done the kidnapping, and the girl is exactly to my liking. Now, what has happened to this main character? He's also doing strange things. The scene comes back to the 5-story tower. Gordon started showering praises. Master, you showed real Demon King style. Berza called it a trivial matter. His purpose was just to ensure that guy wouldn't interfere in his plans. But preparation was necessary. So he sent Gordon to keep an eye on the princess, so they could see how to use her. A little later, he was thinking that the consequences of insulting old traditions had turned out to be far worse than he had expected. Still, he would make the same decision again. It's better to die than to bow before those worthless people. He will not repeat past mistakes. He will start everything anew. Because he had captured a princess of the highest rank, he was receiving demon energy points. Anyway, this was the safest path. Then he noticed he had 13,000 points. He was confused. Where did so many points come from? Just then he received a recording from Tower 20. Draxon was saying, child, congratulations. Our first meeting was a little bitter, but I respect your ability. You did what no one in our reign could do, and in such a short time I'm stunned. I thought insulting the rules was just your act. Barza was thinking about something when Gordon came running. Master, disaster has struck. The 4th floor has become a complete garden. When Berza went inside, he saw that natural changes were happening there. That little princess was playing with many spirits there. Berza understood the situation. This girl has created a whole ecosystem inside the tower. To do this, one needs to be an expert in all 4 elements. He was sure he had captured the 13th princess, who was the weakest and most useless, but such power can only belong to spirits. He said, you are not the 13th princess. The girl replied, so you thought I was Helena? Berza asked, then who are you? She said, my name is Arnin Heldren. I am the 1st princess. Now he got a shock. Hildren Kingdom was in an uproar. The king was shouting, who made his most beloved daughter disappear? He immediately ordered the army to bring her back. There in the tower, Arnin said, that's why I asked if you could handle me. Berza was still in shock. In his previous life, he had heard of a princess who was a genius in magical elements. She had so much mana, then why didn't he find out? The girl showed her ring and said that it hides all her power. It is the hereditary treasure of their royal family. Now the question was, should he send her back? Barza realized he had gotten tangled in the exact same trouble he was trying to avoid, but sending her back would mean humiliating himself. No kingdom in the world fears a coward, and then gathering points would become impossible. So it was decided there was no way to back down now. The system announced that hatred against Demon King Berza was growing. The points were not stopping and were nearing 20,000. Berza realized the world had come to know that he is the kidnapper. He told the girl this doesn't change the fact that You are not the 13th princess. You are still my prisoner. The scene moves to the Riodran kingdom, where the king, mad with anger, is ordering to finish that stupid demon king. But they still don't know who is behind this. Someone said, "Your Majesty, we don't yet know that demon king's name. We are patrolling. Give us a little time." Just then, someone from behind said, "Your Majesty, something is strange. Recently, the demon king of lust had captured another princess and heroes took him down." The message was clear. Then how did some other demon king dare to do this? Everyone fell into thought. Just then the king growled, "It's obvious. This is a new player who doesn't know what the consequences are." Just then a warrior stepped forward and said that they found traces of teleportation magic. It seems this came from the north, towards the Argus Mountains. The king fell into thought. Wait, Argus Mountains. The scene comes back to Barha's tower. Gordon warned the master, "Their army will reach here soon. Don't you think it's too soon to take on an entire army?" But Barja calmly said, "I don't think so. The Riveron army cannot reach here." On the other side, in the enemy's strategic meeting, people were sitting with their heads in their hands. Argus Mountains are far north, and we are in the distant south. How will we get there? Just supplying provisions and materials is a headache. On top of that, we'll have to get permission to pass our army through every country along the way. The main character is fully confident that humans will never give passage because these people are still busy fighting amongst themselves. Finally, the king gave up and said there is no other option left. They'll have to ask the Heroes Guild for help, who had already launched a mission to rescue the princess. Everyone is thinking the demon king who dared to kidnap Riveron's princess must be crazy. The problem is that everyone knows Argus Mountains are full of monsters. That place is very far, and the journey there is life-threatening. Heroes weren't showing much interest either. They were saying this time let the Riveron people deal with it themselves. They don't want to risk their lives for that greedy king. Barja always knew that these people call themselves heroes, but in reality, they are all slaves of money. They won't risk their lives going all the way to the northern mountains just to save one girl. That's exactly what he had in mind while setting up his base here. When Gordon thought about all this, he felt that not following the rules worked this time. Even if these decisions sounded strange, they fit perfectly in Arian. He felt as if he had been here before. On the other side, the king again turned red and yellow with anger. Why hasn't even a single hero come yet? He slapped his forehead in rage. The truth was that they only loved money. Barja knows that building a proper team to attack him will take them considerable time. By then he will accumulate a lot of points and buy some dangerous creatures. He is preparing his fortress for attack. But even though he was getting points, they weren't enough to stop a large attack. He told Gordon, "Contact Draxon. I want to sell demon energy." Gordon was blown away. "Master, what are you saying?" He didn't understand because demon energy is the most essential wealth for any demon king. It is found in very small quantities, and this is what is used to upgrade the tower or summon new monsters. Then why sell it for human money? Barja said, "I know Draxon has been here a long time, and he will give a good price for it. Only points won't work. I need serious cash, because with money I can do what points cannot." The scene now turns towards a castle-like city called Roughton. An unknown person in a hood approaches some soldiers. The soldiers signal him to stop, so he introduces himself as a mercenary. He tossed a coin on their palm, which made the soldier beam with joy and led him inside. This is our hero Barja himself. His first step is to find a guide who can give him moment-by-moment information about this city. Just then, at the Scarlet Mercenaries' hideout, which was in an old area, some people were gossiping. One asked, "Hey, Captain, shouldn't we get out of here?" The other replied, "Why? This place is heaven. Soldiers kill monsters and we just sit here and relax. Where else in the world would you find a place better than this?" Just then a man, picking up his mug, said, "Haven't you heard the news? Looks like a new Demon King's tower has gone up in the Aegis Mountains." The reply came, "What are you talking about? Don't you know that Demon Kings build such tall towers so that everyone can reach them?" Even the tale of Princess Hildurin's abduction was scoffed at. Crossing an entire continent for such an act seemed implausible. They noted that the Heroes Guild had already declined involvement once the Irist Mountains were named. To them, the story was a fabrication meant to inflate bounties. Their leader concluded that greed often clouded judgment. Without warning, DAs materialized behind the leader. The room stiffened in shock as the mercenaries faced the unexpected intruder. Observing their familiarity with current affairs, he decided they would be useful. He instructed all but one to leave. They answered with steel and violence, perceiving him as a threat. The clash that followed was swift and merciless. Diaz dismantled their attacks effortlessly. A strike from behind was intercepted with precision. A massive hammer swung toward him, halted mid-arc, seized by his overwhelming strength. Surrounded by crossbows, he advanced without hesitation, hurling one attacker into the others and shattering their formation. Terror overtook the leader. The figure before him no longer appeared human. Outside the building, confusion spread among those who remained conscious, unable to comprehend why exhaustion never seemed to touch their opponent. When silence finally fell, only the leader stood. Diaz advanced at an unhurried pace, his presence alone crushing resistance. He offered survival in exchange for information. Paralyzed by fear, the leader accepted immediately. The inquiry was direct. Diaz demanded the location of the slave market. He was escorted to a formidable structure concealed behind a towering iron gate. The establishment dealt in human slaves, a fact relayed with uncertainty. Diaz instead asked about rarer stock and dropped a heavy pouch of gold at their feet. Apprehension gave way to avarice. The leader's manner shifted as he guided Diaz into a hidden sector. Along the descent, Diaz reflected on how swiftly the man had regained composure after witnessing his companion's fall. The observation reinforced a quiet conclusion. Humans and demons were not fundamentally different. One pursued gold, the other devoured energy. Beneath the city in shadowed chambers, the true merchandise awaited. Gordon had once questioned the value of human currency. The answer was evident now. Diaz sought slaves of non-human races captured by mankind. His interest centered on an elf renowned for incorruptible integrity, an individual he intended to employ as a subtle instrument to fracture the unity of heroes from within. Meanwhile, within the royal court, a new figure arrived. The hero, Hillen Cargill, stepped forward. The king greeted him with visible relief. Entrusting him with his hopes, Helen accepted the charge without hesitation, vowing to rescue the princess, and returned, bearing the demon king's head as proof that justice had been served. At the slave market, the broker inquired about the type of commodity Diaz sought. Diaz answered plainly, a captured elf. He added that the mercenary who had escorted him would be responsible for payment. The mercenary stared at him in stunned disbelief, but one glacial glance from Diaz extinguished any protest. Swallowing his fear, he resigned himself to the transaction. Diaz then ordered everyone to remain outside, claiming he required privacy to evaluate the merchandise. The trader cautioned that the elf was difficult to manage. Diaz replied evenly that any damage caused during inspection would be repaid should matters escalate. Once alone, he examined the captive carefully. The elf who stood before him had clearly once carried pride and dignity, yet chains and degradation had reduced him to a shadow of that former self. The oppressive aura of demonic power radiating from Diaz did not go unnoticed. The elf sensed it immediately, and unease mixed with disbelief at the thought of a demon taking interest in him. Diaz presented a proposition, a chance to exact revenge upon humanity. The elf admitted that the offer held temptation, but he voiced his distrust without hesitation. In his experience, demons were no more trustworthy than humans. Both races had brought suffering upon his people. The terms were laid out with precision. 50 years of service in exchange for liberation and protection. To a race blessed with centuries of life, half a century was a small price compared to endless humiliation in chains. Still, the elf refused. Demons, he argued, sought the destruction of the world tree, the sacred heart of elven faith and the foundation of natural balance. Trusting one was inconceivable. Diaz acknowledged the gravity of that fear. Then he invoked the ancient covenant of Demung and swore he would never harm the world tree. Fine, then. Let's do this. I swear by the Demon King rulebook that I will never even lay a hand on the world tree. Hearing this, the elf was stunned. He knows that for monsters, these rules are as sacred as the tree is for elves. Berza concludes, in return, I just need 50 years of companionship. The elf laughs and says, you really are a very strange monster. But if you've taken such a big oath, then fine. My name is Granada of the Maple Tribe, and I swear to serve the Demon King who sent you here." Just then, Berza drops the bomb. "No, I am the Demon King myself." Granada didn't understand at first. Then he started laughing like a crazy person. He said very funny, "You are," meaning the Great One himself is standing here and doesn't have even a speck of power. "If you truly turn out to be a Demon King, then I won't help for 50 years, but for 100 years. Because looking at your condition, it seems you desperately need me." After this tremendous humiliation, the scene directly shifts to the tower. Berza says, "Well, as you said, now you will serve me for 100 years. Granada's mouth fell open. "Oh, come on, you're really a king. Wait, something is wrong here. And why didn't anyone tell me this tower is so empty? Up to the 3rd floor, there's nothing. On the 4th, there's only grass and weeds, and the 5th is desolate too. Not a single monster visible. You won't last even a year. Heroes will come here and finish you off." Berza just spreads his aura and asks, "Have you forgotten your promise?" Feeling the power, Granada understood that this guy does have strength. Even if the tower is empty, the monsters of the Orgesh area haven't attacked them yet because no one dares to mess with the Demon King. Finding no other way, Granada swears loyalty before the Tree of Life. He accepts that if this guy came all the way to get him, he surely has some big and dangerous master plan. This is a better chance for revenge than any other. Just then, Berza looks at him and says, "Fine, now start cooking food for me." Granada was left dumbfounded. "What do you mean cook food?" The very next moment, he's cutting vegetables in confusion. He understood he was brought not for some great plan, but to cook soup. Meanwhile, nearby, Ernan is enjoying herself. She says, "Okay, at least someone has come to lend a hand." She chirps, "Shall we make vegetable bread today?" A little later at dinner time, on the 5th floor of the tower, a total of 4 people are sitting. Granada quietly asks, "Hey, Demon King, that girl sitting there, isn't she the kidnapped princess from that kingdom?" Berza says very casually, "Yes, that's her. Ernan Hilun." Granada shouts, "Are you out of your mind? With this 5-story empty tower, you kidnapped the most powerful country's princess." Berza calmly replies, "That's exactly why I bought you." Berza says, "Now sit down quietly and eat." Granada still can't make heads or tails of anything, while our hero is happily complimenting the food made by Arnon's hands. Later on the 4th floor, Granada asks, "Wait, are you wanting me to fight the heroes here?" Berza says flat out, "Absolutely not. If they reach here, consider us all dead. Your job here is not to fight, but to destroy the human world from the inside for me." Granada now understood. "Oh, so you want to make me a spy?" Berza says yes, but the condition is that he first needs to see this rascal's abilities. Granada flared up. "Hey you, what do you think of yourself? You think I'll beat you up right inside the Demon King's tower? Have you lost your mind?" Berza challenges him. "Fine, then I'll use only one hand and won't even touch demonic energy. If you win, I'll reduce your contract by 50 years. Hearing 50 years of discount, Granada got fired up instantly. He said, "Don't back down from your word." The very next moment he disappeared and directly launched a stone attack on Berza. Berza blocked it and said, "Not bad considering you were in jail. Are you absorbing mana from the 4th floor to power yourself up?" Granada roared, "The time for complaining is over. You made the bet, and now I'm going to throw in my full power." Just then, plants emerged from the ground and wrapped around Berza's feet. Granada shouted, "Now keep your mouth shut because I'm coming to reclaim my 50 years. Berza smiled and said, "Fine, but don't forget who you're fighting." He activated his dragon hand power and said he doesn't need any extra energy for this. He also reassured Granada that he won't die. An explosion happens in the mountains, and the scene directly jumps to the mercenaries' base. That strange commander salutes Berza and says, "Meeting you again is an honor for me." Berza comes straight to the point. "I've come to hire you all for 1 year. The commander agreed immediately. "Absolutely, we're ready. But tell us, how much will we get?" The rest of the mercenaries standing behind the ones Berza had beaten up earlier are whispering in their beaten-up condition that this man has a lot of money but hits really badly. Berza threw a bag full of coins on the ground and said, "This is your advance payment." One of the beaten-up goons said, "This man is crazy, but I liked him from the beginning. What do you all think?" The leader realized his team was even more enthusiastic than expected. Anyway, he needed new people. Just then, Berza says one last thing. Berza tells the mercenary commander, "You will include this boy in your team, and whenever I say, he will bring my message to you." The commander nodded immediately, but the rest of the mercenaries started whispering, "Hey, at least tell us who this is. Taking in just anybody in the team is not safe." Just then they see Granada, whom Berza has badly beaten up. In that sorry state, when he introduces himself, the mercenaries' hearts melt. They emotionally say, "Oh, this is one of our own brothers." They all surround him and warmly welcome him into the team. Berza thinks to himself, even if this group looks useless on the outside, they work in a dangerous area like Argost. In such a place, finding people willing to work on Rayran's call is difficult. And Berza knows very well which hero will come running on Rayran's call. Hylan Cargill, the very man who had finished off the Demon King of Lust. Berza orders Red Falcon mercenaries, "This is your first mission. Spy on hero Hylan Cargill, called by Rayran." They agree immediately. Coming back to his tower, Berza thinks now that he has handed over the hero matter to Granada, it's time to make himself stronger. Usually, demonic energy points are used to upgrade the tower or the Demon King himself. But Berza has already sold all his points, so now he has only one way to increase his power: spiritual blooming. This is a kind of mana crystal that is formed by absorbing nature's energy. Eating it brings a tremendous surge in power. Since the energy of Mount Argost has not been touched by anyone until now, there are plenty of pure mana blooms here. To put it simply, this place is full of treasure. For a monster, this is not as effective as demonic energy, but for now, he'll have to make do with what's available. Berza says, "Gordon, I'm going out to hunt some spirit blooms." Gordon sarcastically said, "Demon King, have you lost your mind? Do you even know that finding them is like finding a needle in a desert, and the monsters there are not pet dogs that will wag their tails seeing you? They'll grab you by the throat directly." Berza says, in a cool tone, "Don't worry about the monsters. I'll deal with them in a snap. The real headache is finding those flowers." Gordon says finding them would be easy only if you had some strong mana detector. Now we know where the story is going. Just then there's a knock on the door, and Arnon asks, "Are they busy?" At that very moment, both their minds light up simultaneously. The very next moment they are outside in the mountains. Arnon is very happy and jumping while saying she's so excited. Poor girl was getting bored for quite some time. She says, "Come on. Good thing you kept your promise and gave me the 4th floor." Berza seizes the opportunity. Yes, that 4th floor can be yours forever. You just have to find some spirit blooms for me." Berza is thinking to himself, the 4th floor has already been taken over by her trees and plants. Now what else will she do? Anyway, whatever it is, one has to admit that decorating this scary diamond tower is in itself an act of madness. On the other side, Arnon is overflowing with joy. She thought she wouldn't be allowed to even step outside the tower. Good thing she came to check what Berza was actually up to. Just then, suddenly Berza places his hand on her shoulder. He pulls her close and starts flying into the air. Slowly, Arnon opens her eyes and realizes that when she was brought that night, she couldn't see how vast this world is. Until now, her life had been running on one track: magic training, studies, and that's it. She felt her whole life would pass like this. She says softly, "Demon King, do you know that maybe I'm the first human flying above these mountains?" Berza was about to say, "Princess, I have nothing to do with such matters. The important thing is that," but she interrupts him in the middle and says, "My name is Arnon, and since we are now living in the same tower, you should at least call me by my name." Berza absolutely did not like this friendly tone. He grabbed her hand tightly and while threatening to throw her down asked, "Have you forgotten your place? Have you developed too much of a fondness for jail? Now stop the unnecessary talk and use your spirits and start working." Immediately, Arnon apologizes and tiny magical creatures emerge from her fingers and spread in all directions. Berza was thinking this would take quite some time, but still this would be faster than him and Gordon. But then, in the blink of an eye, she says she's found a flower already. They fly to where, among many orcs, an ice flower had bloomed. Berza understands that the matter won't be this easy, because uninvited guests are already present here. He steps forward and says to the creatures, "O beings of the demon world, if there's even a little respect left in your bloodstream, then obey my command." But those wild orcs flatly refused. They hate monsters. They don't trust him and simply want to kill him. Hearing this, Berza's forehead veins started bursting. He grumbled angrily, "Gordon was right. These animals only deserve to die, and burning them to ashes is the easiest solution. Just as those orcs jumped to attack, for a moment I thought maybe there would be some compromise between them and Berza would take them to the tower. But nothing of the sort. He directly evaporated them into steam. Then one orc came from behind to attack and shouted, "Attack his empty spot." But Berza just moves his hand to the side and wipes him out without a trace. Arnine was standing watching all this. She had heard that dealing with these orgs is like chewing iron chickpeas. But here, they couldn't even wander close to Berza. She realized for the first time what the true power of a demon king actually is. Night has fallen, and piles of bodies are everywhere. Finally, these people reach the Hyacinth spirit, which is a magical power of water and ice. The girl accompanying Berza becomes completely smitten seeing it, but Berza immediately tells her to stop staring at it and picks it up himself. At the same time, he reads her a lesson. If she finds any other such thing, she can keep it. In his mind, he thinks if you want to get work done from humans, it is necessary to dangle the carrot of greed before them. Poor girl tried very hard but didn't find anything else, so giving up, these people headed back towards the tower. Looking at that magical flower, Berza thinks he had earlier thought bringing this girl along would become a trouble, but she turned out to be more useful than expected. At this moment, that girl is comfortably curled up inside his clothes. Meanwhile, Gordon brings news that some information has come from Granada. It seems 2 more heroes are coming from the capital with Heian Cargill. What, Ryra Bayoran? But the twist is that they're not coming directly to Aegis. They're choosing that same old worn-out hero's path, building a small team in a village, completing small missions, and slowly increasing their level. Gordon gets fired up and says that's why he has prepared a whole list of how to eliminate them one by one. But Barza Dias rejects all his plans in one shot. He says this time they will do nothing, not even create any obstacle in those heroes' journey. When Gordon asked for the reason, Barza explained putting small obstacles in between makes these heroes even stronger. Instead, send Granada and the mercenaries so that they can join their team and win their trust. Gordon tauntingly says, "So you're breaking rules again." He also reminds him that currently this tower is not capable of stopping any group. But Berza reveals that for the tower's protection, help will now be taken from Bono, that is to say, dwarves. Hearing this, Granada's hands and feet go numb. He's afraid that if people see those short-statured Bonos inside the tower, everyone will make fun of them. Berza tells him to stay quiet. He clarifies that he is not using the Bonos for fighting, but for the magical machines and weapons they possess. Usually, when heroes attack a fortress, they expect to find some weak monsters in the beginning, and then slowly climb the tower. But if they are welcomed right at the entrance by a dozen cannons, Gordon thinks this will be a bit too strange. But there's no doubt that heroes will be absolutely unprepared for this. Still, Gordon slaps his head that this method is not right by any villain's book. But by the time he finishes venting, Berza had already disappeared from there. Now the story reaches Wolfner, a city built underground by the Bonos. There, a man named Logar Fred is working at the furnace and has no idea that soon the Demon King is going to kidnap him. Standing in front of the city gate, Berza thinks he has fought many Bonos before, but this is the first time he's going inside their city. At a dhaba called Midnight Inn, he tries to ask about some weapon, but he can't figure out where to start. After all, who is the best blacksmith here? As soon as Berza throws coins on the table, the man there says he seems to be a quite sensible person. Berza knows that these dwarves are also as quirky as heroes. That man tells him, go to the center of the city, where you'll see a very large pit. There's a lift there that decides which floor you go to. Along with that, a security system is also installed there to identify intruders. Berza ignores all these unnecessary things and directly jumps from above. He stops directly on the last floor because that man had already warned him that the bottommost part is the deepest and the most special room. Here he will meet the city's best blacksmith, Mr. Logar Frederick. That man is hammering iron in his furnace, and Barza Deus notices that while working he is using some kind of mana, that is to say, magical energy. He understands that this is the man he needs. Now he just has to kidnap him from here. Just then, the flames from the hammer strike push Berza back. Berza understands that this man has sensed his demonic energy. Still, he kept striking the hammer without stopping. The very next moment, that dwarf suddenly appears next to Berza and attacks him. Berza is forced to block that blow with his bare hand. Just then he realizes that this man is that dwarf, roars, "Yes, I am a hero. A dwarf who has the magical power to mold metals and who has fought many dangers before. How dare you enter here, filthy monster?" So Berza Day says, "Fine, okay. Since you've come to know that I'm a monster, I'll tell you the truth. I am the Demon King." And saying this, he grabs his throat. The poor man's hammer slips from his hand and falls to the ground. Just then, some other dwarves come looking for Logar. But the place was empty. Everyone starts making noise that someone has kidnapped Logar, and orders are given to seal all routes. But our hero has already taken him and reached the roof of another building. He warns him, "Dwarf, if you make even a single sound, you'll go straight up." Logar nervously asks, "Haven't you come by any chance to kidnap our beautiful princess?" Berza flat out refuses. He has no interest in such things. He had heard that these dwarf blacksmiths are experts at making secret passages underground. So if that's true, start quietly showing the way. But Logar still believes that the Demon King is after the princess and lying. He was hiding in this mountain precisely because he feared the Demon King. Then why did this trouble follow him? The truth is that even though Logar is an expert blacksmith, as a hero he's quite meek and weak. So Berza says, "Fine, if you won't open your mouth, I'll kidnap the princess herself, and then tell everyone that you gave the information and left the princess to be killed to save your own life." Logar's sweat broke out. That cannot happen. This is sheer villainy. This is outright sin. Logar's problem is that the whole city knows he's a weak dwarf. So if this rumor spreads, people will certainly believe it, and he'll have to endure torture for the rest of his life. Then Berza throws the real card. "So now choose, should I kidnap the princess or you? If you stay with me, you'll be safe. I swear by the demon rulebook." The little dwarf stops and thinks, "Oh, this is their biggest oath. If he has sworn this, he won't betray." He agrees, and both start making a secret passage. Back at Logar's furnace, everyone is looking for him. The princess comes. Wait, not princess. This girl's shoulders are 15 meters wide. She can't find Logar anywhere, whereas she needed Logar to make her weapon. This is the princess here, Louise Worf. Just by her appearance, it's clear she's going to cause havoc. She shouts everyone quiet and gives the order to find Logar. How did someone let a hero get kidnapped? A dwarf says quietly, "Ma'am, he is a hero, but he's very weak." She scolds again, "Quiet. Find the kidnapper and bring them before me. If you don't, I'll uproot all your necks." As soon as she stomps her feet. Here, Berha and Logar are moving forward through the secret passage. For some reason, while walking, Berha is staring at the waddling waist of that dwarf. Then he grumbles and says, "Hey, you scoundrel, how long do I have to keep watching all this?" The dwarf says, "Keep calm, brother. We are almost there. This path will lead straight to the top of the mountain." As soon as they get outside, Logar says, "All right, my job is done. I showed you the way. Now you go your way, and I go mine." Berja snaps back. "What nonsense are you talking? You are coming with me." Logar's jaw drops. He starts thinking to himself that this guy is crazy. He had just sworn an oath on the rules of the Demon King. But Berja makes it clear that he doesn't care about that trash. "Now walk quietly. I have to make use of you." Logar falls to his knees and starts begging. "Brother, don't kill me. Don't torture me. I know metalwork. I can make weapons. I can do a lot of things." Berja realizes that this turned out to be easier than expected. He says, "If you swear loyalty to me, I will let you live." The dwarf immediately agrees. Yes, Demon King, you are great. I love you." But something else was going on in his mind. "The moment I get a chance to get out of here, I will end your game. You will regret it for the rest of your life. Just be ready." But as soon as he reaches the Demon King's tower and sees the beautiful garden there, all his enthusiasm cools down. Meanwhile, Gordon is turning red with anger. "Oh God, Demon King, did you really bring a dwarf here?" Berha shuts him up. Just then, Granada appears on the screen and asks, "Wait, in the middle of all this, what is this dwarf doing here?" The princess comes closer and asks whether the dwarf is all right, because he hasn't moved for quite a while. Logar nervously turns toward Berha. "Why am I here? You said you would free me." Berha says mockingly, I said I would show mercy. Look, you are still alive. I just punched you on the back of your neck so you would stay unconscious on the way and not pull any tricks. Logar starts laughing like a madman, bursting into laughter all over the hall, making the entire place shake. Berja says, "Looks like you are quite happy being my slave." Logar says through gritted teeth, "Yes, I am very, very happy to be here." Berja says, "Now that's the spirit." Then he gives him his first mission. Build a massive wall of cannons on the first floor so that the heroes get blown to pieces. The scene cuts to the heroes' area of Algest, where preparations are underway. Granada is spying and reporting back. There is a rumor in the city that the new Demon King uses black flames, so most heroes are thinking of attacking while wearing fire-resistant gear. Apart from this, people are saying that the new king is not sending any monsters out of fear. Berja notices that these heroes are still quite fired up. He feels bad that their hero's journey is not going to be of any use. In the end, they will just keep walking the same path, get bored, and won't even be able to level up. This is just a race against time. Granada, stay on your mission. Saying this, he disappears. The elf princess thinks that he truly does not want to send any monsters, so the heroes cannot grow stronger. You have to admit it. This guy knows how the human mind works. Has there ever been such a demon in history? Thank goodness, he is not my enemy. Back with Berja, he is laying down his conditions. Listen, dwarf, there is only one restriction. You cannot use even a single mana stone, meaning magical stone. How you build the first floor is not my concern. This rule just must not be broken. Logar says, "My master, without mana stones, the weapon that kills heroes will not work." Berja says that is your problem. He explains that heroes receive the blessing of this world. They instantly sense magical energy. If we lay magical traps, they will know immediately. That is exactly why I brought the best blacksmith. So can you do this or not? The dwarf says he can, because he has actually built a tool that hides magic. It takes 3 years to build, but it will work with absolute precision. Berja cuts him off mid-sentence. Wait, you are clearly making excuses. Berja is fully convinced that this guy wants Berja to be killed in the very first attack by the heroes. So he swiftly puts a collar around his neck. Logar panics and asks what on earth this thing is. Berja then lovingly explains that this is just a simple little magical toy that separates the head from the body. On top of that, it also hides the face. And if he ever tries to remove it, Berja will take it as an attempt to escape and send him straight to the god of death. After this, our Demon King goes around countless kingdoms to gather supplies and magical materials. He drags that poor Logar around for a full 1 month and keeps throwing whatever he finds into the portal. Then these people arrive back in the dwarf's territory. Here, logs are angrily breaking against the walls of the iron furnace. The princess is fuming. A full month has passed. Where on earth did he go? All the people here are absolutely useless. She is completely certain that Logar has run away. The dwarves explain that there are countless tunnels here and they cannot figure out which route he took. But Louise hates excuses. She gives an ultimatum that if the kidnapper is not found within 2 weeks, she will cut off everyone's heads. The moment she stomps her foot, everyone flees in terror. She's also angry because right in the middle of the furnace, that unfinished iron is lying from which her sword was to be made. She mutters, "Logar's being alive is necessary because before my sword is made, he does not have permission to die." Just then, Logar appears right behind her. He's wearing that face-hiding mask Bayerza gave him. Louise freezes seeing him. Wait, this is that secret passage only she knew about. "Logar, is that you?" Poor Logar gets thoroughly flustered and gives the princess a small, scared little hello. Louise clenches her fists. So this scoundrel has come back. Seems like he ran and hid to avoid making my sword. Logar stutters, it's all a misunderstanding. But Louise isn't willing to listen. There's no misunderstanding. It's clear you tried to betray the princess. From now on, you're not free. You'll spend your whole life as my slave. But before that, prepare to suffer the punishment for running away. Just then an explosion happens which pushes Louise back. She shouts, "Who are you?" Just then Berza makes his entry and says, "Logar, stop the unnecessary talk and pick up whatever material is needed." The princess's temper reaches the seventh sky. "Who are you, and why is this cheap little dwarf helping you?" Barza says with swagger. He is the master of this poor dwarf whom she, that is to say, the princess, had been squeezing for money until now. Louise turns and screams, "I'm not squeezing anyone. He's just a slave who will now make only my weapons for his entire life." She starts raining punches and asks, screaming, "How did you dare to take her dwarf? You can't escape this easily." But in this rush, Berza gets a chance. Berjadeus comes in between and kicks her on the neck, but the princess stops him and swings her fist and slams him into the wall. She was about to kill him when the very next moment Berja reaches behind her and grabs her head. Punches were flying all around, and even though Louise was not a hero, her strength was absolutely dangerous. Berja knows how dangerous this girl is, because in his past life before the regression, she had killed countless demons, and back then she was far more powerful than today. He could have finished her off right there if he wanted, but the problem was that for that level of strength, he would have had to pour out his entire demonic energy. And the worst part is that during this fight, she must have noticed Berja's power, meaning she has now figured out that this is no ordinary guy but a demon king. On the other side, Logar is busy wrapping up his work. Berja asks him whether the work is done. Logar says he is still opening it because they will need that mana ghost, that same item which hides all the mana usage in the traps. Berja tells that wretched fellow to finish the work within 1 minute, otherwise there will be trouble for him today. Louise keeps attacking continuously and is saying that only she will kill this guy. Berja cannot figure out how much longer he can handle this girl without showing his real strength. Louise shouts that she does not know where he dropped in from, but today he will not leave this place alive. Berja turns around and says that her words sound exactly like those of a demon king. Then he taunts her, saying, "Give up. Hey, skinny princess, today both your dwarf and your equipment are mine." Just then the machine starts breaking apart and Logar signals that the work is done. Louise, mad with rage, asks how he dared to come back here and steal. "You cannot escape so easily." But in this very rush, Berja gets an opportunity. He plants a powerful kick on her stomach, which sends her crashing into the wall. Immediately, he opens a subspace portal and asks Logar to throw the material inside. Louise keeps shouting, but the item has disappeared. Just then, the world's laziest dwarf comes running and asks what happened. Louise orders them to chase in the direction from which Logar was escaping through the tunnel. But just then, everything collapses. Suddenly, Louise's expression changes, and she starts thinking fondly, did he really not want to make a small little weapon for her? Now the game has gotten more interesting because now she herself will hunt him. Even if she has to raise the entire continent, she will find him, and he will regret this act. This girl has 10 times more hatred inside her than Berza. In the next scene, we reach Berza's tower, where that mana device has been fitted on the first floor. Arnon and the guard are asking in surprise, what in the world is this? Berza just says that it is a very necessary tool to stop heroes. Logar confirms the installation is complete, upon which Berza says, hope this hard work pays off. Just then, a blue light spreads throughout the room. The tower recognizes that mana ghost, but to sync with the tower, 10,000 points are needed. Berza was confused. He didn't even know such a thing exists. Still, since it was the first time, he decided to see what happens. He had 11,000 points, and he spent almost all of them. The mana ghost now considers King Berza as its master, and now its feeding power is directly converting into demonic energy. Berza was about to ask what this means, but that dwarf is going crazy with joy. He shouts he never even dreamed this was possible. What happened after all? Berza himself couldn't figure it out, so he asked Ernan to use any magic she wanted. She raised her hand and caused a dangerous explosion. While the guard kept stopping her, will you spread the mess everywhere? Berza thought that normally magic of this level would be felt all the way outside, but when he went to the other side of the room, he felt nothing, not even the sense of someone's presence. So this is the true power of that mana ghost. But when he tried to control the tower in this state and looked back, the tower was gone. As soon as he touched it and used his energy, the tower became visible again. He was astonished. This thing is making the entire tower disappear. But then it struck him that In the business of this hiding trick, 1,000 points had been deducted. For now it's a bit expensive, but it will be very useful going forward. On the other side, that dwarf is going crazy. He says, let me use it a little more. I want to see how my ghost is adjusting with this tower. Nothing like this has ever been seen in history. This is a very great discovery. Bayerza noticed that this man is getting eager to fight just like a monster. He said, fine, if you can trap those heroes right here on the first floor and finish them off, do whatever you want. Logar said, don't worry. Those fools who think they're very smart will turn to ash right here. Then Bayerza turned and said, oh princess, the heroes who reach the 4th floor, you'll have to deal with them. She was startled. What? Me? I'm a princess. How will I fight them? Bayerza said, so what? You are no ordinary girl, but a spirit genius who doesn't even want to go back to the palace. Now you'll have to lend a hand. He had never thought he'd have to give such a mission to this innocent girl who doesn't even understand the ways of the world. Betraying his own race was perhaps a little too much, but she had already fallen into thought. How will she fight? Water, fire, earth, or wind? Which would be best? Bayerza explained, you don't have to defeat the heroes. Just show that you are also their enemy. If this plan succeeds, you'll get whatever you ask for. She's quite naive. She said she would try her best to find the opportunity, but she has one condition. She wants her identity to be not as a princess, but as the Demon King's disciple. Bayerza didn't quite understand this, but he thought, fine, whatever you want. Then she started asking how should she fight. She said she can use her beauty to lure them into a trap. She has full confidence in her looks. Bayerza said, do whatever you want. Just lure those heroes in with temptation. Now they are all moving towards the throne room because there is still a lot of work left. Planning this defense is no child's play. Cannons will reduce the number of heroes, but they won't stop there. On the 4th floor, the princess will set her bait. Maybe this will cut the heroes' numbers in half. But in the end, Bayerza will have to hold the front himself. Now the time has come to use that item and start increasing his power. Just then he says, listen, princess, let's go for a little walk. She overflowed with happiness. But outside the cold was biting, and not a single bird was in sight anywhere. It seemed like he was out hunting spirit flowers, but he didn't find even a single one. He told the princess, you're of no use. Small spirits were slapping them and pulling their hair, but just then, someone comes close. It was a blue orc, and Bayerza was immediately ready to finish it off, because he had a strong dislike for these people. But that orc immediately fell to his knees. When Bayerza had come here the first time, it was said that these people would perhaps serve him, and lo and behold, that is exactly what happened. He introduced himself as Krutu, the chief of the Blue Ice Tribe. He welcomes the Demon King and requests that they be accepted as their friend and their own brotherhood. Bayerza was surprised. Brother, what suddenly came over you? Now that man started apologizing, our ancestors had betrayed the demons, and we are carrying the burden of that sin. So we want to regain our honor by serving the Demon King. But Bayerza is no raw player. He directly said, tell the real story. You just want to become more powerful as monsters, and you're afraid that I might finish you all off. Birgia Deo comes straight to the point and says that I know you have an old connection with the spirit flower. Crew understands that hiding anything from this man is impossible, so he signals his man to bring something. When the box is opened, 3 flowers come out of it. Now Birza understood why he wasn't finding even a single flower outside. These people had already suppressed everything. He realizes that these orcs don't just know how to fight, but also know very well how to sweet talk and bargain. But he found it strange. How did these ordinary ones become so clever? Crew explains that to survive in this snowy region, they had to use their brains more than their strength. Birgia finds it amusing that today, these clever people have come to him simply because they now need strength. He finds this funny and says, fine, I like you people. He activates the magic circle and gets ready to adopt the tribe. But he places one condition for now. Only Crew will be given the demon's mark. Birgia commands him that with this new power, he will have to conquer the entire snowy plains and increase his tribe's strength in Birgia's name. He will have to wait for the next order, and in return he will receive so much power that his tribe will be immortal forever. In the blink of an eye, Krutu's body starts bursting. He becomes completely muscular and turns black in color. He kneels down and says that from now on his life is dedicated to the Demon King. Now the scene is set. A 5-story tower that can disappear whenever it wants. An army of orcs in the mountains. Logar's cannons on the 1st floor. And on the 4th floor, masked Arnon is ready with her spirits. Birgia thinks, now let those heroes come. He will take revenge for the humiliation of his past life, one by one. On the other side, in the middle of the jungle, that golden-haired Halian is celebrating. He tells Granada, "We are almost there." Poor Granada doesn't even realize how deep a spy he is being. They reach the famous Argaz Mountains where a large group of heroes has gathered. In the next scene, we reach Holton Walk, where arrangements are made for the heroes to stay and prepare. A feast is going on, and Halian is thanking everyone for the support received in this magnificent fort. Pharaoh says that being part of this page of history is a matter of pride for him. Then he tells Halian's son, "Now you say a few words too, so everyone's blood boils." Halian is already in the habit of hogging the spotlight anyway. He begins, "My companions, brave warriors and knights, the moment we have been waiting for has arrived. That monster king has challenged our empire, but he is afraid of us. That is why he has not sent even a single monster. We will enter his fortress and finish off that demon who dared to kidnap the princess." Everyone starts chanting slogans of justice. There, Granada thinks to himself that everything is happening exactly the way Birgia had said. There are neither too many heroes here, nor are they very powerful because they haven't evolved yet. Only Halian is the useful one, because he was already powerful, and he has the talent to gather crowds. Still, Granada is afraid that if they all attack the tower with full force, the tower might collapse. It crosses his mind, should he cut some heroes' necks right here? But then he stops himself. No, stay calm. If this mission succeeds, it's my benefit. Then I won't have to repay that wretched Birgia's favor. He does decide to stay quiet, but he's afraid that Birgia might kill him. He'll at least have to pass some inside information to Birgia. Otherwise, he'll be of no use. A little later he says, "Okay, we have reached Hatayan, and tomorrow, after loading the stuff, we will begin climbing the mountains." Berza warns him, "Once you leave Hatayan, there is no need to contact me. Just keep your eyes open and be careful while crossing the snowy mountains. And yes, when the tower door opens, stay as far from it as possible." Granada couldn't make sense of any of this, but just then Halian appears.
For next part, like and subscribe to the channel. Take care, guys.